Just by way of introduction to your viewers, the poem is called A Refusal to Mourn the Deaths by Gunfire of Three Men in Brooklyn, which of course is a play on the Dylan Thomas poem, Refusal to Mourn the Death by Fire of a Child in London. The poem was written in response to the double murder suicide of two police officers in Brooklyn, New York in December of 2015, I believe, by a man by the name of Ishmael Brinsley, who's a Baltimore man who hopped a bus one morning from Baltimore to New York with the intention of killing some police officers in response to the rash of murders of Black and brown people by police officers and their acquittals. So when this happened, it stirred a lot of emotion in me, right? Earlier that day, a few poets, many poets had gathered in Washington Square Park for a protest reading. We read poems in protest of the police killings. And I remember leaving the reading feeling that we had not done enough. There's this old adage that says, singing is swinging and writing is fighting. I didn't believe so that day. I believe that, and I'd wish that someone had done something more. Well, when I got home, I found out someone had done something more. And I felt everything. I felt sorrow, I felt joy, I felt guilt, I felt relief, all these things. So the poem was my attempt to process all these feelings. There are references to the Rodney King rebellions or riots of 1992. I was living in California when that took place. So the poem jumps back and forth. And every section starts with the epigraph from an African-American poet. The first section starts with one by Tim Siebels, excuse me. And at times, didn't the whole country try to break his skin? You strike your one good match to watch its bloom and juke, a swan song just before a night wind comes to snuff it. That's the kind of day it's been. You're black and mild, now useless as a prayer pressed between your lips. God damn the wind and everything it brings. You hit the corner store to cop a light and spy the trouble rising in the cashier's eyes. TV reports some whack job shot two cops, then popped himself here in the borough, just 1 mile away. You've heard this one before, in which there's blood, in which a Black man snaps, in which things burn. You buy your matches, Christ is watching from the wall art, swathed in fire. This country is mine as much as an orphan's house is his, Terrence Hayes. To breathe it in, this boulevard perfume of beauty shops and roti shacks, to take in all its funk, calypso, reggaeton, and soul, to watch school kids and elders go about their days, their living, is, if not to fall in love, at least to wonder why some want us dead. Again this week, they killed another child who looked like me, a child will march about, who will grace our placards say, then be forgotten like a trampled pamphlet. What I want, I'm not supposed to. Payback, woe, and plenty trouble for the gunman's clan. I know I'm not supposed to, but I want a brick, a window, one good match to watch it bloom. America, I forgive you. I forgive you eating Black children. I know your hunger, Bob Kaufman. You dream of stockpiles, bottles filled with gas and wicks stripped from a dead cop's slacks, a row of paddy wagons parked, a pitcher's arm. You dream of roses, time-lapse blossoms from the breast of sheriffs, singing calico and casings rain. You dream of scattered stars, dream panthers at the precinct, dream a blackout planned and put to use. You dream your crew a getaway van, engine running, or no thought to run at all. You dream a flare sent up too late against the sky, the coup come hard and fast. You dream of pistol smoke and bacon, folded flags, and why feel shame? Is it the dream or that it's only dream? And still, when I sing this awful tale, there's more than a dead black man at the center. Reginald Dwayne Betts. You change the channel and it's him again, or not him. Him, but younger. Him, but old, or him with skull cap, kufi, hooded down. It's him at 15, him at 40, bald or dreadlocked, fat or chiseled, 6'3" or 3'6", coal, black, or Ralph Bunch bright. Again, it's him. Again, he reached, today behind his back, his waist beneath the seat, his socks to pull an Uzi, Morningstar, or Molotov. They said, don't move. They said, get down. They said to walk back toward their car. He, so to speak, got down. 3 to the head, 6 to the heart. A mother kneels and prays. Not peace, but pipe bombs. Hands to light the fuse. This next section I'll dedicate to Candace Owens, Preston Denard, Ben Carson. I'll dedicate it to Kanye West. I'll dedicate it to all those folks. It starts with the epigraph from Etheridge Knight. Fuck the whole motherfucking thing. A black man dancing for the nightly news, grins wide and white, all 32 aglow and glad to be invited. Makes a show of laying out, of laundry airing. Throws the burden back on boys, their baggy wear and boisterous voices. Tells good folk at home how streets run bloody, riff-raff take to crime like mice to mayhem, and how lawmen more than ever need us all to back them. Fuck this chump, the channel and the check they cut to get him. Fuck the nodding blonde, the fat man hosting. Fuck the story, fuck the quick acquittals, fuck the crowds and camera van. You change the channel, fuck, it's him again. And now we're going back to the Rodney King verdict and the ensuing riots. I enter the story by the same door each time, Julian Randall. At Normandy and Florence, brick in hand, one afternoon in '92, with half the city razed and turned against itself, a young boy beat a man to meet and signed thereby the ledger of the damned. Big book of bad decisions, Black boy's almanac of shit you can't take back. We watched in shock, the fury, sure, but more so that it took this long to set it, all these matchstick years. He beat him with a brick, then danced a jig around his almost carcass. Cameras caught him live and ran that loop for weeks, all night, all day, to prove us all, I think, one thug, when black beast prancing on the nightly news. And of course, that is the beating of Reginald Denny, the motorist who was pulled from his truck at the corner of Florence, Normandy. but it's also, part of the playbook, right? Whenever a Black man is shot by the police, they try to dig up all these photos of, even with Trayvon Martin, who was shot not by police, but by police wannabe, and they would, find the most mugshotty looking photos they could find, and use that to scare and justify white America, to scare white America and to justify their shootings. And okay, so now we're with Ishmael Brinsley and his trip up from Baltimore. And when it comes to those hard deeds done by righteous people and martyrs, isn't it about time for that to be you, Gary Copeland Lilly? Not Huey on his high back wicker throne, beret cocked cooler than an Oaktown pimp, or young Guevara marching into camp, all swagger, mane, and slung M1, but one less suited, you could say, for picture books and posters, slouching on a northbound bolt, caressing steel and posting plans to shoot. He means, for once, to be of use, small axe to massive branches, tree where hangs the noose. He says he's putting wings on pigs today, wants two for each of us they've blown away, wants gun salutes and caskets, dirges, tears, and wreaths, wants widows on the witness stand, or near the riot's flashpoint, brick in hand. And that was a direct quote. He said he was tweeting, I think, or on Instagram or something, on his way up from Baltimore, and he tweeted that he's going to put some wings on pigs today. And now we're going back to my college days. I itch for my turn, Indigo Moore. And it mentions this, I don't know if you know this photograph of Malcolm X where he's at the window peeking out with the rifle. Yeah. Like Malcolm at the window, rifle raised and ready for whatever classic black and white we pinned above our dorm room desks. We knew a storm brewed, spinning weather vanes and hustling flocks from sky to sky. We dozed most nights, nose deep in paperback prognoses, wretched and black skins, white masks, our books of revelation, clarions to would-be warriors. If only we might rise up from our armchairs, lecture halls, or blunt smoke ciphers, talking all that gun and glory, not a gnat among us, free to wax heroic, deep as bullet holes through Panther posters, Huey's shattered throne. Another reason that I wanted to undertake writing this poem, you hear these stories about your Huey Newtons, the Black Panthers, and your Nat Turners, the slave rebellions, and they're remembered, right? And their lives are written and they won't be forgotten. But somebody like Ishmael Brinsley, right, who really committed this heinous act, I really do feel like he meant to be a hero. He meant to right a wrong, right? And he was also suffering from mental illness.
Right.
Yeah, clearly. Before he chopped that bus to Baltimore, he got in an altercation with his girlfriend and shot her in the stomach. She lived, but he shot his girlfriend in the stomach. So clearly, he was not right in the head. And again, after he shot the two police officers that he found sitting in their car, he ran down to a subway platform and shot himself in the head. But this notion of heroism is interesting to me, especially in a culture that loves guns as much as this culture does, right? It's interesting to me, depending on where one's sitting, who gets to be classified as a hero and who a villain. And now we're in the park the morning of with the poems and the poets at our rally. Poems are bullshit unless they are teeth, Amiri Baraka. It ain't enough to rabble rouse, to run off at the mouth, to speechify and sing. Just ain't enough to preach it, poet, kin to kin, pulpit to choir, as if song were anything like panther work. It ain't. This morning, when the poets took the park to poet at each other, rage and rant, the goon squad watched and smiled, watched us shake our fists and fret, no doubt amused, as when a mastiff meets a yapping lapdog, or the way a king might watch a circus clown produce a pistol from a passing car. Our wrath, the flag that reads kaboom. Our art, a Malcolm poster rolled up, raised to SWAT. And then we're back with Ishmael Brinsley here. Every once in a while, I see the winged spirits of niggas past raise out the rubble. Paul Beatty. Could be he meant to set the world right, one bullet at a time. One well-placed slug, one dancing shell case at a time. One hot projectile pushing through, one body bag zipped shut and shipped to cold store at a time. Could be he meant to make us proud, to fill Nat Turner's shoes. Could be he meant to aim at each acquittal, scot-free cop, each trigger pull or chokehold left unchecked, and blast daylight straight through. Could be he meant for once to do. We chat, we chant, we theorize and write. We clasp our hands, spark frankincense and pray. Our gods, though, have no ears, and yet his gun sang loud, enough to make them all lean in. And now I'm thinking of the riots and protests and uprisings that inevitably ensue. Paradise is a world where everything is sanctuary and nothing is a gun, Dinesh Smith. A pipe bomb hurled through a wig shop's glass, 9 melting mannequins, 9 crowns of flame, hair-singed miasma, black smoke braided, scream of squad cars blocks away, burnt out Caprice and overturned Toyota, strip mall, stripped and gutted, gift shop, pet shop, liquor store, old stationery wholesale, home decor, cheap dinnerware, an old man sprinting, draped in handbags, loaded down with wedding gowns, 3 Bloods and 2 Crips tying end to end, 1 red, 1 blue bandana, freebase fiend with grocery bags, new kicks and name brand jeans, spilled jug of milk against the curb, black cat bent low to lap it. This, your world, burnt bright. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 4 more. So that's a you know, checking in with people, make sure everybody's okay. And this is here when I'm first hearing about Ishmael Brinsley and processing these emotions. I love the world, but my heart's been cheated. Cornelius Eady. He thought a prayer and a pistol grip enough to get it done, enough to get him free. Get free or dying, try to stop the bleeding. Blood on leaves, blood at the root. I didn't root exactly when I heard word spread, word that he crept up panther-like and let loose lead a lot before he fled the spot, then somewhere underground let kick his cannon one last time. One time, our name for cops back at the crib. It had to do, I think, with chance or lack of. Chickens come to roost, perhaps. I didn't root per se, but almost cracked a smile that day. The news like wind chimes on the breeze or shattered glass. We beg your pardon, America. We beg your pardon once again, Gil Scott Heron. To preach forgiveness in a burning church, to never mind the noose, to nurse one cheek, then turn the next, to run and fetch the switch, to switch up, weary of it all, then cock the hammer back and let it fall. But they were men, you say, with children, and so close to Christmas. But their wives, you say, today so close to Christmas. Memory as noose and history as burning church. Who'd come across the two cops parked and not think go time? One time for Tamir time, not think fire this time. To say as much is savage. Blame the times and what they've made of us. We know now which and where, the pistol or the prayer. In this poem in general, in that section in particular, I wanted to give myself room and to give Black people a moment to not feel that we needed to be responsible, noble, and forgiving. If you look at the way a lot of historical Black characters are portrayed in these movies that deal with either be it slavery or segregation or any of these injustices, the one consistent quality that allows them these movies to be made and allows white folks to go home feeling good is that there's always forgiveness, right? I'm thinking of The Butler right now with Forrest Whitaker, who was treated like crap his whole life and has seen, atrocity after atrocity. But in the end, there's something in his character that says all is forgiven and therefore we can move on. But I wanted to, in that section, just give space and time to the rage unchecked and not feel that I needed to explain it or to turn it around. Like sparklers tracing an old alphabet in the night sky, Ahmad Jamal Johnson. It's natural, no, to put your faith in fire, the way it makes new all it touches, how a city, let's say, might become, by way of time and riot, pure. In 92, we thought to gather ashes where before loomed all that meant to kill us, rubble now and lovely, worked into as if from clay some sort of monument. To what? No clue. Scorched earth, and then? Suppose a man sets out with gun and half a plan to be of use, to hunt police. Insane, we'd say, not long for life. In this, we'd miss the point. A lit match put to a gas-soaked rag, the bottle flung, may die, but dying leaves a burning house. Afro angels, black saints balanced upon the switchblades of that air and sang Robert Hayden. But that was when you still believed in fire, the gospel of the purge, the burning house. You used to think a rifle and a prayer, a pipe bomb hurled through a shopkeep's glass, enough at last to set the world right. Enough, at least, to galvanize some kin. Think Malcolm at the window, set to shoot, or Huey on its high-back wicker throne. Think Normandy and Florence, brick in hand, a black man dancing for the camera crews. You change the channel, there he is again, and begging, find some bottles, fill with gas, begs breathe in deep the Molotov's perfume, says strike your one good match, then watch it bloom.